Yeah, me and my friend are watching it, and there's like 60 episodes or so. So when we first we decided, we're going to watch it starting into 2021. That'll be our fun thing. Every week we'll watch it 2021. And then we're like, yeah, there's like 60 episodes. So it'll be like all year, you know? Yeah, except the thing is we're watching 5 episodes every week. So we're going to get through it a lot faster than we expected. We weren't planning on it, but we keep being like, after we finish 2 or 3, we're like, well, it's only 10 p.m. We could watch 2 more.
Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, the podcast where we play a little bit of a lot of video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And today we will be talking about the final-ish part of .hack GU Volume 3 Redemption, and because we'll probably talk about like epilogue-y things again next week when we talk about Volume 4.
This is... To be clear, this is the end of the original game. Yeah, this is the end of the game as originally released. Everything we play after this, like next week or whatever, is extra content. So, like, from a certain point of view, like, yeah, we did it. We're at the end of our long journey. We did it, gang. We finally beat this stupidly long game.
Yeah.
Extra content made a decade later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, like, bonkers to me. And I'm so excited to see if it holds up, and a lot of people who have played the remake or re-release or whatever say that it does hold up, and it's like some of their favorite GU content. But it's like, no offense to every other game that has done this that I've ever played, but the extra content usually doesn't hold up. It's usually bad. Like
yeah. The only exception I can think of is Dragon Quest games in general. Dragon Quest games across the board. When I was first getting into Dragon Quest, I'm like, oh, DS version of Dragon Quest 4 has a whole 6th chapter after the game's 5-chapter structure completes. I'm not going to play that. It's not the real game, right? And then later I found out, no, chapter 6 is really good actually. And it turns out it's like fucking incredible and feels like an essential part of the game, but that's very rare. Very few games do that.
Yeah, like
the future connected part of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which was also made like a decade later, is pretty okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not hating it right now. It's just real low stakes after, I don't know, traveling to actual Jupiter to kill God. Being like, hey, let's go save this kid that's stuck in a tree. I'm like, all right.
Really good music, though, and that's like the most important part of a video game.
Yeah, honestly, if new content if a video game's going to have new content, they better not reuse, they better include new music. Like, come on, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. The one that
same thing with remasters.
The one that sticks in my head as being not that great is Super Mario Brothers 2 Advance. One of the bosses that you face twice, instead of facing them twice, there was a new one, and it wasn't that good, if I remember correctly. I think that's what I was remembering from OG Plus Cast. But when they were talking about that, I was like, oh yeah, it's usually not great. Though I do have to say another good one is playing as Yoshi in Super Mario 64 DS fucking owns. So
Super Mario 64 DS is incredible, except for the fact that playing it with a D-pad does not feel good.
Yeah.
But all the added content in that is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in any way a definitive version of Super Mario 64 because it's fucking weird, but I love it.
It's instead of being, like I said, a definitive edition, it's just a tasty treat. Like, go and play the original Super Mario 64, and then when you feel like playing it again, maybe try playing it on the DS because it's weird and it will be a tasty treat of something weird and different.
I should try that. I strongly disliked it the one time I played it as a youngster, mostly because I was just like playing this on a this just doesn't really work very well, right? Like control wise, form factor wise. But I probably was too hard on it. I would love to go back and play that again someday.
Yeah.
It really does not feel great playing Super Mario 64 of all games with a D-pad instead of an analog stick.
Yeah. I remember getting used to it real quick when I was playing it, and then it was just fine, but it is a big disconnect because that game was made to sell analog sticks to the whole world, and so playing it with that one is bonkers. But
Yep.
yeah, so let's talk about the game. Bernard, is there anything you would like to pimp before we go in?
It's my birthday.
Hell yeah. Happy birthday, Bernard.
Hell yeah, it is. Happy birthday, Bernard.
I'm 30 years old.
I have to turn 30
Exciting.
next month.
I don't know.
Well,
like, obviously, you're the one.
Guess what? It sucks.
Yeah.
Being 30 years old, the 10 hours I've been 22 hours I've been 30 years old, worst of my life.
I feel interesting about, because I'm going to be 30 later this year, of course, obviously, and Sam. Wait, you're already 30, aren't you, Sam?
No, I am a grade year ahead of you, but I am a fiscal year the same age as you.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, that's obviously I just go back from college memories. But at any rate, I don't know. Like on one hand, 30, like you feel so old, right? But on the other hand, I have so many friends that are like 35, 36. I have a friend who's like 42, and they all just seem the same as me. You know? So you're not old, Bernard. You're cool. You're the same age as all these other people who I don't even think of as being like older, quote unquote, than me. I think of them as cool, hip, fun people, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing is, like, I look around and I agree. Like, I see all of these people that, like, I am, like the same age as, the same feeling as, and they're all, like, 40 and all of that. But at the same time, I feel like I just graduated high school and the world is my oyster, and it's not. That was multiple decades ago at this point. That is two tens digits ago when I graduated high school, and that's bonkers, and I don't like that. And so that's the part that sucks about being 30. Not that like 30 is actually old or anything. It's just a weird feeling where it's like I have numerical proof that I'm not young and hip anymore. And in 5 years, nothing will even be marketed towards me anymore. So like, what the fuck?
Right, but then you get to start pretending like the stuff that for you is the best. Like you get to start being like an annoying old person, though.
Yeah.
Bernard, what are you gonna do to be an annoying old person?
I've been trying to be an annoying old person since I was like
13. And you got very good at it.
I'm going to be an annoying old person about, I don't know, memes.
Yeah,
that's valid.
I got chewed out for rightfully so. I was like doing a bit, and the bit didn't come across very good. But I was said I was being a gatekeeper for retro gaming because I said that retro gaming should be done on the CRT, meaning like the best way to enjoy it is on a CRT. But it came across as like if you don't do it, you're not actually playing or whatever. And so I guess that's my.
I saw your tweet, and the thought flashed into my brain that someone, not that I thought that was a jerky thing to tweet, but the thought flashed into my brain that someone could see that as a jerky thing to tweet, because of the way you worded it. But like, look, here's the thing: people are like, "Oh, you're gatekeeping." You're just a guy on Twitter. Yeah. People can just ignore. People can just not do the thing that you said.
Sam has no power.
I really don't.
Like, yeah. Like, I saw your tweet. You were like, if it's made for CRTs, play it on a CRT. like you didn't even say if you don't play it on a CRT, you're not a real gamer. You just said you literally gave an order. But anyone reading the tweet can just be like, no, right? And
it's not like this is a common thing that people are gatekeepy about.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't have huge groups of people saying, you're not playing Super Mario RPG on a CRT. You didn't really play it.
Yeah.
So,
I saw that tweet, and the idea that anyone actually got mad at it is so annoying to me. And also, like, and again, I mean, I would probably word it like, a quote unquote nicer, aka less cancelable way to word it would be like, if a game is on CRT, you should totally play it on a CRT. If you can't get it, it's actually really easy to get a CRT. All you gotta do is go on Craigslist, and you can probably pick one up nearby in your neighborhood for $10 or $20. Like a more helpful tweet, because I'm sure someone will be like, "Oh, you're being so gatekeepy by like, I don't know, excluding people who don't have CRTs." I'm like, it's not hard to get one, dude. I know they don't make them anymore, and eventually it is going to be hard to get them, but...
Oh, I don't want to think about that day.
I know. Don't even. But right now, no, they're not. Get in your car, drive around the various neighborhoods of your city until you see one, and then put it in your car.
A pro tip, if you're listening and you're like, you know what, that's a good idea, I do want to go get a CRT, go on Craigslist. If you live in a big city, if you live in a small city, you can just browse. Like in Madison, I literally can like take 2 weeks off of browsing free Craigslist, go back, and there's only been like 5 new entries, which is ridiculous. But on
if you're in a small town, you will have to drive probably.
On Craigslist, look for old style TV, because a lot of people that like want like the new and better, they're not necessarily going to know the term CRT or anything like that. So just
or they'll use the word, or they'll call it a tube TV.
Yeah, something
they
like
often
that.
call it a tube TV or standard def TV. Yeah, you got to sort through it. But anyway, anyone who doesn't have a CRT, you should get one. It's I'm not saying you need to or you're not a real gamer. I'm saying it would benefit your life. You will thank me.
They're huge. They're extremely heavy.
They don't have to be huge and heavy. The next one I'm going to try something new. Instead of getting the biggest one I can, I'm going to try and get a really small, cute one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got like a 16 or 17 inch one. It's like about the size of my computer monitor. It's real small, and it feels like unreasonably huge and luxurious. Like the 4x3 form factor just makes the screen feel bigger than it is anyways. So just get you a small little one and enjoy it. But
me and Bernard used to have a CRT that I can only call the heaviest thing I've ever lifted in my life.
Yeah.
Remember one time we took it up a bunch of stairs and we like almost actually died? I've downsized a little bit since then.
At our house in Austin, when we were renting a house, not the apartment, we had a huge CRT TV that was built into an entertainment center with speakers in a subwoofer.
I love
God,
that thing was gigantic and super heavy. And the worst part is, like, it was a selling point back in the day, but as I had to carry this upstairs point, the base of the entertainment center was on a swivel, which meant you couldn't carry it from that part of the entertainment center. So now you had this bigger thing that you couldn't like carry from all sides.
That's
and
awful.
It was horrible. Had great picture and great sound, and I loved having it. But when we were moving into an apartment, it was the very easiest thing to downsize because we were on the 3rd floor.
A lot of let's say consumer appliances and household items, especially from like the 80s and 90s and earlier aughts, they were traditionally things that have been marketed on television, like your typical, like our consumer-based economy, our what's it called, sort of surplus-based economy, having to induce demand and stuff like that, has been traditionally geared towards like families and middle-class people. And what I'm saying is, back in the day, people didn't move as much. The kind of people they would
it's
advertise
marketed
these,
towards homeowners.
Yeah, it's marketed towards people, or at least people who like have 2.5 kids and rent their home, right? People our age who move about every year consistently, not the target audience for anything made back in the day, right?
Not at all. But things that were made back in the day of the year 2017 was .hack.gu.
You know how we talked about last week there was so much to cover? There's so much more to cover now, and we're just talking about nonsense.
Yeah. Oops. So let's switch over and talk about the phenomenal ending to .hack.gu Volume 3 Redemption.
Hell yeah.
There's so much this week.
Oops.
Well, tell us about it, Bernard.
So I think last week Haseo was like, hey, where's Zelkova? And the dog was like, he's on the bridge. So Haseo heads to the bridge. Zelkova and Kaede appear behind him. Zelkova says it looks like Haseo was able to recover the connection between the epitaph and his consciousness. Haseo asks Zelkova if he's the only one... Wait, no. Haseo asks Zelkova if he's the one who hacked his PC. Zelkova says yes, but its power comes directly from Haseo's epitaph's power. Haseo asks what Zelkova is doing here. Zelkova says this is sort of his home. He says the aftershock of the rebirth blew Haseo into this alternate version of the world, and a force strong enough to damage his consciousness and PC body has enveloped the entire network. Haseo asks who Zelkova is and how he knows all this. Yata walks up and says Zelkova is a resident of the net slum. Kun, Pai, and Atli walk up, pleased to see that Haseo is okay. Yata says Endrance and Sakuba are in net slum as well, just not appearing in this scene for some reason.
Yeah. Maybe they... because the bridge of the net slum is gorgeous and detailed, and maybe they were at Polycount. Or
Maybe.
Yeah.
The rebirth blew them apart, but Zelkova brought them back together. Zelkova says Yata is a celebrity here. Yata says that was long ago. Haseo ruminates on how Ovan destroyed himself to save his comatose sister. Pai comments on Haseo's new appearance. Zelkova explains that the Xth form is an illegal power created from the fusion of the epitaph and the user's PC. Zelkova says their battle with Ovan is over, but the seeds of danger haven't vanished from the world. Haseo's like, what? And Zelkova's like, don't worry about it. Zelkova and Kaede leave. A town comes into view. Yata speaks with Tartaga, the ship itself. Yata says he's an old friend. Zelkova and Kaede walk back up. They left the scene and now they're back. Zelkova says Haseo can now resist the seeds of danger in this world. However, right now he cannot use his full power. Haseo's like, what? And Zelkova's like, don't worry about it. Zelkova and Kaede give Haseo their member addresses. Narration from Haseo says the rebirth caused global network problems in the real world. They called it the third network crisis, but the world has become peaceful again. The world, capital letter, world. Since the rebirth, there have been no reports of Ida phenomena. Haseo wonders if Ovan got what he wanted. The lost ones are gradually returning to normal. But Shino, ... Haseo has a lot of emails. CC Corp emails to apologize for connection issues. God, it's late. I've had a drink or two.
Nice. Good for you.
It's my birthday, y'all. Go easy on me. Sirius emails to say he's okay now, but he hasn't been able to contact Alcade. Adelie says even though their fight is over, she's worried. Endrance also wonders if their fight is not over. Haseo wonders if Alcade and Sheena are still unconscious for some reason besides Ida. Kun says there's rumors that the third network crisis was caused by the world, which Yeah. He says CC Corp is scapegoating Ovan, which I'm like, is it scapegoating when he is actually responsible? And
he
also
very much did it.
And also, does using him as a scapegoat work when he did use the world to do it? Like, does that erase CC Corp's responsibility? I don't know.
Yeah, this guy did something terrible, and we allowed and encouraged him to happen and didn't stop him. So you should all get mad at him and not us.
The world doesn't cause rebirth. People cause rebirth.
Ugh. If they make doing rebirths illegal, then only illegal hackers will do rebirths.
Anyway, Kuhn says no one knows where Ovan is in the real world, or even if he's alive. Pi emails saying, Fidel's prophecy has become reality. Thou destroyest and createst, thou powerless one, as the stirring footsteps of a giant shadow sound. We can read these lines as referring to the twilight of the gods, but they also point to a giant shadow that's somehow different. The third network crisis. It could be we haven't seen the end of it.
Bum, bum, bum.
Haseo wonders if all this was really what Ovan wanted. Then he receives an email from Yata, saying that there's two things he must inform him of. First, that Shino is still in a coma, but the doctors did notice a change in her brainwaves. So they just have to sit and wait and hope she gets better. The second thing, he had better tell him in person. And he asks Haseo to come to the Morgubero wall. So Haseo heads there, and he asks Yata what he meant by that email. Yata tells Haseo to look over the cliff. Haseo sees an enormous being with smaller creatures forming around it. Yata says he's found several areas exhibiting such phenomena, and there is something different from Ida, and this is something different from Ida. He believes it is an anti-existence.
Dun, dun, dun.
He says if this is the giant shadow from the prophecy, then this is the anti-existence of rebirth, the shadow of the Morgana factor, the shadow of the epitaph users.
God, what a couple of sentences.
This week, let me preface it and say, it owns. The ending of this game is great, but this is the point of the game where you can no longer pretend that these people are playing a video game, and you have to instead think that they are jacking into the digital world, and that things are just different and can be JRPG and bonkers, because you cannot imagine that like they're pressing the attack button at any point past this. No one is speaking into a microphone. Like this has to you just have to suspend all of your disbelief, because it's bonkers, and everyone just talks about like gods and prophecies like it's a real thing and not just a game.
Yeah, and they're never clear on it. They're like, when they're like, oh, this is a god, I'm like, wait, is this game like jumping into the supernatural where something supernatural is happening in this digital game? Or is this just game lore? Like, I don't know which this is. And I don't think they're being ambiguous on purpose. I think they're being ambiguous just because they're being silly. But also, yeah, at this point, the game's plot simultaneously becomes ununderstandable. And yet also it's just, there's now a big thing and we got to kill it. But everything beyond, there's a big thing and we got to kill it, is inscrutable.
Yeah.
Yes. Yata says, use of a power not meant to exist created anomalies, and the light of the rebirth created this as its shadow. Its name is Cubia, the bitter legacy left by Ovan. Cubia could spread not just through the world, but the entire network. The true destruction is beginning. The true apocalypse.
Dun, dun, dun. Fidel gave a prophecy about Cuba.
Yes. Haseo asks about Arcade and Shino. He says their consciousnesses are probably still in the world. Yata says he'll take responsibilities for his past actions. 7 years ago, when both worlds were in danger, he was on the battlefield. We see flashes of Kite and other characters who are presumably from IMOC. Haseo realizes he's talking about the second network crisis. Yata says Cubia was present then as well.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Yata says, yes?
Oh, I was going to say, in the picture from IMOC, it kind of looks like Yata might be the original Balmung, but like it's hard to say because like it's like the Tinder problem where it's like one girl is like in the front, but there's like 5 girls in the picture, so I have no idea which girl it is on Tinder. It's kind of that thing where it's like, was he just talking about IMOC in general? Was he saying he was Balmung? I don't know. I could go on the wiki, and I probably will when we finish chapter 4.
Mm-hmm. Yata says Ovan destroyed Ida at the cost of his life, curing the lost ones and protecting the world. Yata says he will protect the world with his life as well. He will not allow the world to be destroyed. Haseo gets Yata's member address. Haseo says he won't let Alcade and Shino's consciousnesses be destroyed. Haseo logs out and checks his email. If we've selected the right choices so far, Saku emails us now saying she's not going to vanish after all. Yata emails saying, CC Corp's management has sensed Cubia's presence and have fallen into turmoil. 7 years ago, the Pluto Again incident, when the second network crisis began, Cubia was there as well. I believe the true finale, the true third network crisis, will begin when Cubia becomes active. The Pluto Again incident, of course, being when someone brings up that they're upset for some reason that Pluto's not a planet, and you're like, Pluto? Again? It's not even funny anymore. Pluto's still there. You can still go there and hang out.
Pouring out for a real one. R.I.P. Pluto.
No, it's fine. Pluto's fine. They didn't blow it up or anything.
Yeah, they didn't blow it up because we all got mad about it.
Yeah, they were gonna.
Just kidding. No. I'm just like, well, what's the point in naming things scientifically if you're not going to be consistent, folks? You got to have some standards.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore,
besides, there's probably a 9th planet anyway.
Also, think about all the kids in school. Like, are you really gonna make them have to learn 20 other planets instead of one less planet? Like, come on, it's not nice to them.
Yeah. Anyway, Aina emails Haseo asking to meet with her. What? So Haseo goes to meet with her. Aina confirms that she woke up in the real world. However, she has memories of the world from her time asleep, her brother's memories. Her sleeping consciousness would sometimes connect with Ovan's Ida, and she saw visions of what was happening in the world. She had become one with Ida. Aina says her brother is comatose, wavering between life and death. She asks why Haseo didn't save him, then runs off. The area shakes. A short mail from Yata says, "The Cubia disaster has begun. Meet at Raven's at-home." In the Serpent of Lore, Pi says Cubia has become active, fragmented, and has begun corroding various areas. This is a huge burden for the entire network. Humanity is on the verge of the third network crisis. Bo runs in and says that a terrible monster is after Aina. Pi locates her with the Serpent of Lore. The party heads to the area and finds her surrounded by the strange creatures that swarmed around Cubia. After defeating the monsters, Haseo and Bo tell Aina to come back with them. She tells them to shut up, and that if her brother's not in the world, it can end for all she cares. If they think her brother was bad, their stupid game can go away forever. Probably would be good if their stupid game went away forever.
Yeah,
really
for this being the third time that the world almost exploded because of this video game, maybe they should just not play the game.
There's so many...
Y2K almost happened a third time.
Also, like, I don't know, the world, the capital T, capital W, the world, I don't know when it was made in this game's lore, but, like, I'm sure by the time they made it, they, like, already had, like, I don't know, EverQuest and Ultima Online. They may have already had WoW. I'm not actually sure. They already had Phantasy Star Online. Like, I don't know, man. Even in this fictional world where we pretend like the world is the greatest game in the history of the world, it's like the normal world, not the capitalist world. It's like There's other games, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, just play. If I found out that, like, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid 3 was gonna, like, destroy the world, I'd be like, it's fine. I'll play Metal Gear Solid 2 instead. It's fine.
Yeah.
Someone leaps from the shadows to say, play FF14. The base game and the first expansion are free. So it's like 2 whole games for free. Play FF14.
It's true, you should.
Sure.
You should.
It's us. We're the guy from the shadows.
Yes.
FF11 may have even existed in the fictional history of, and apparently that game is fantastic if you're into the older style of game where everything kills you in 5 seconds. I'm just saying, there was a lot of competition for these fictional characters to play other video games. Like, you're not hurting for entertainment. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, Aina again accuses Haseo of not saving Ovan and says he wiped out Ida, cutting the last link between her and Ovan. She says she would have preferred to stay linked to her brother through Ida. She was happier when she was unconscious. Bo tells her she can't throw all her painful feelings at someone just because she hurts. She shouldn't try to hurt someone else. Haseo tells Aina that Ovan wanted to save her and that she has to believe in what he did. Ovan wanted her to live. Aina cries. Haseo heads back to the Serpent of Lore. Pai tells him that Sakubo is with Aina now, and that she finally understands that blaming Haseo won't bring Ovan back. I just remembered, they never explained how Sakubo and Aina know each other.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing that Aina pseudo waking up and playing with Sakubo is just a thing that has been happening sometimes. But they never, like, explained that. Sakubo's never like, oh, yeah, this is how I know Aina.
Yeah, it was like, whoa, y'all have some weird history together? That's strange and unexpected. But then it's just like, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Yata says the monsters Haseo fought were Cubia's hunting dogs, Gamora. Cubia can generate infinite Gamora, so they have to attack the main body. However, fighting Cubia would just result in their powers canceling each other out. Having lost their epitaph of rebirth, they would be destroyed if they tried to fight it head-on. Spoiler alert, what they do is fight it head-on.
Yep.
Yata says if we could converse with God, ... Haseo's like, God? Yata says there was once a goddess watching over the world. She was the ultimate AI which once ruled over the world. Aura. A deity that exists within the world. Kun wonders how they can talk to her. Haseo says they should go to Hulgran's cathedral. Yata says he'll accompany him. Then Aina and Bo enter. Aina says she wants to come too. The group heads to the cathedral. Cubia isn't there yet. Yata says it's being protected by a holy power. As they enter, Yata says Ovan formed the Twilight Brigade to search for the ultimate AI. He believes Ovan may have originally sought to borrow Aura's power to exterminate Ida. Aina shows the group what Ovan left to her. It's a book, The Epitaph of Twilight. She starts glowing and floating, then she reads from the book. And I actually took time to just transcribe what she says, but it's meaningless.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff.
So what's cool about this scene is, as we'll find out in a second, is this is Aura from IMOC. She's the main, because like I had vaguely mentioned it before, but IMOC is about like a literal god shows up as like a glitchy AI NPC in the original world, and that has been largely absent from this game. All of the stuff has been like way more grounded in reality sort of shit going on. Like, oh, these are their characters, and their characters are having these extra things because they're super GMs and all of that jazz. But IMOC right off the bat is like, oh no, there's a god in the machine, and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
and
also in the anime for sure, it's also a thing. Yeah, Aura's in that too.
Yeah, and the fact that like she shows up, and as we'll see in the scene, she basically is like, oh yeah, I'm definitely still here, definitely real, but I've decided that I just want to watch. You guys go do your own thing. I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, she's
I don't
just
know
like, I don't know, man. What do you want me to do?
Of IMOC to know if like she's supposed to be on the sidelines. Like I don't know if something happened to her to not be like showing up in newbies' inventories and giving them superpowers like she did back in the day. But I thought as a like contrast between the two, how this one was so much about just Haseo logs out and checks his email, and the first one was not. Them like rectifying between the two, I thought was really cool. Yeah.
So,
Which reminds me, because I looked it up a second ago. The World Revision 1 came out fictionally on December 24th, 2007. So Wrath of the Lich King was out, which is
oh my god.
Wrath of the Lich King came out was out by then, which means there was a way better MMO to be playing instead of the world. When the first time a god shows up to you and is like, "Hey, here's magical powers. I need you to take over the internet for me." You can be like, "Nah, I'm gonna go roll a Death Knight. See ya."
You could have been playing EVE Online. You could have been playing RuneScape. You could have been playing Kingdom of Loathing. Just lots of options. I didn't realize because I guess the original game was like it took place in the future from when it was released. I guess because the original IMOC didn't come out in 2007. Yeah, yeah. So further evidence of the point.
Yes.
yes. So Aina starts reading from the book, and the room starts to shake. Haseo starts glowing. His epitaph is reacting. Yata says the key of twilight is the sign of the truth, which that is a sentence, isn't it? If they bring all 8 epitaph user PCs here, then ... And that isn't a sentence. Haseo says, but Ovon's gone. Yata says to remember Ovon's words. Haseo devoured the avatars. They're all in him. The key is within him. Haseo is the key of twilight. Haseo is Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
Yata tells Haseo to awaken the goddess who left this world. Haseo summons Skaith. Skaith does something to Aina or the Epitaph of Twilight or something. I don't know. But Tri-Edge and his buddies appear, and they attack the party. After they fight for a while, Aina says, stop. Tri-Edge and his buddies obey. Yata says, of course, these are Aura's knights, the pursuers that Ovon mentioned, the guardians of the system. Haseo realizes they were after anomalies in the system, such as Ida and Ovon. Aura speaks through Aina. Yata asks how to save the world from Cubia. She says great goals are always fulfilled through personal sacrifice. She says she is the one who remains asleep. She cannot decide the future of the world. The future of the world lies with the players. Tri-Edge steps forward and gives Haseo his weapon. The pursuers disappear. Aura says she is the Twilight Goddess who brought about this world's dawn. Brought about this world's dawn. Yet once again, the twilight of the gods has come. She says some more stuff, then disappears from Aina. The group leaves. Yata says some shit implying that this is the point of no return and to assemble at the Serpent of Lore once our preparations are complete. Where am I?
To clarify, this is a PNR. After this point, we can't go back to the normal towns, but we're still going to get to hang out in Net Slum and go on quests and do all the normal shit if we want to, which we don't. And then there's a real PNR later.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Serpent of Lore, Yata says Cubia is consuming all of the servers. There's no safe place left in the world. He says they'll take shelter in the Net Slum. After transferring there, the Epitaph users wonder what to do since Aura did not come to their salvation. I think someone says, she said, great goals are accomplished through personal sacrifice. Will we have to give up our Epitaph user PCs? And then nothing comes of that.
Nope.
Which is weird, because usually when someone says something like that, they're right in a game.
Yep.
Yeah.
People don't just spitball.
You know what I just realized in this game? I noticed this because, of all the Breaking Bad I've been watching. these characters, as far as I can tell, for 3 entire games, avoid the number one rule. They successfully follow the number one rule of being a character in a fictional story, which is never refer to a thing that's going to happen at some point in the future. They never do that. They never say next week I'm going to get a new job, and then, tragically they die just the day before that or something. No, at no point in the game has someone made reference to an event happening sometime in the future, or in a specific time in the future, which is good for them. Good for them.
What are they going to do? Say, next week I'm going to stop playing the world? They're not going to stop playing the world. Yeah. And what else is going on in their life?
But they never even say, I'm so close to hitting max level, or I guess there's a little bit of once I do my thing, then we'll be together again. But that doesn't really count because that's not an inevitability. That's the thing that's part of the actual plot, right? Anyway, the point is, I just realized the fact that these characters never talk about anything besides the actual plot, and also the fact that the characters never say what time to meet at a meeting, for example. Time essentially doesn't exist in this game, which means it's the only meeting I've ever seen where they don't break, where they actually follow the rules of being in a fictional narrative. So good job. Maybe
you mentioned max level.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned max level, and that reminded me how hilarious it is that Yata is not at max level. He who loves the world the most
has
funny. Not reached max level.
What is max level, by the way?
150.
Oh, nice. I was 130 or something maybe when I beat it. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think it was 126 or something.
Yeah.
I was 150 because I wanted the trophy.
You gain levels pretty quick though, so getting to 150, I'm sure doesn't really take too long, huh?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Neat.
Haseo heads to the bridge where Yata has moved the bare minimum of the Serpent of Lore's systems. To Pai's surprise, Zelkova accesses the Serpent of Lore. He says Cubia has already taken over the world and is straining the network. The network is on the verge of failing. But that's not all. Abnormalities are occurring at nuclear power facilities around the world.
Okay.
At this rate, they will all melt down, and the human race is in danger.
I gotta cut in real here. First of all, hilarious escalation of stakes. But also, at this point, they show a map that shows all the nuclear power plants and Bay City erasure. I gotta say, I'm very offended by this. My hometown, Bay City, Texas, little Bay City, Texas, has 2 nuclear reactors. In case you're curious, there are no reactors in the whole world that have 3 reactors. 2 is the maximum. You have some nuclear plants have 1 reactor, some have 2. Most do just have 1. So, relatively important. It's making as much energy as pretty much any other nuclear reactor out there. I think we give most of our energy to the West Coast, actually, like the electricity needing right now, for example. Anyway, just saying. I'm not mad. I'm laughing, actually. Definitely not upset or offended about this at all.
Zelkova is searching for Cubia's main body, but needs more time. Haseo says they should fight the Gamoras in the meantime. He gives an inspirational speech about how they have to do something. They decide to also enlist the help of general PCs who have been transferred to the net slum, but that will take some time. Haseo heads into the net slum and meets Syllabus and Gaspard there. Then Saku walks up. She berates Haseo just like old times, then runs off. Haseo logs out and checks his email. CC Corp emailed saying there's emergency maintenance. There's an email from Zelkova to all who love the world asking for their support against Cubia. Bo emails thanking Haseo for convincing Saku to stay. Zelkova emails to say that general players are now in various areas taking out Gamoras. It's time to attack Cubia. Gather on the bridge for a strategy meeting. On the bridge, Zelkova admits he hasn't located Cubia's main body yet. He does, however, know the locations of 4 areas where the Gamora presence has reached dangerous levels. They need to go to those areas and access outer dungeons to defeat the Gamoras. The Epitaph users set off to fight them while Zelkova continues his search. Haseo and party head to Hidden Forbidden Radiation and find themselves surrounded by Gamoras. Someone swoops in and takes them out. It's Alcade!
Yay!
So excited. Also, I will clarify. At this point, you have to go to 4 different places, and you can do them in any order. So, for me...
Yes, and I accidentally... Mm-hmm. I accidentally did the best one first.
Yeah, for me, I didn't do that one until 3rd, so I was obviously very, very... Like, it really built up a lot for me, right? Yeah. In all of them, different characters show up to help you, but, oh my god. Alcade, she's alive.
Yeah,
so
I didn't sort my bookmarks or anything. I just was going from the top down, so I did them in what seems to be the reverse order. Because like the last one was just like Syllabus and Gaspard or something, and it's like whatever. It wasn't the big.
Well, it depends on
dead girl is back.
Well, it depends on what. It would depend on what server you had most recently used, right? Which could have been anything, because 2 of them were in one server and 2 of them were in the other server.
Yeah. But I know that it was intended in the opposite direction, because when I got to the last one, I was one-hit killing them, and I was not at the beginning, and I didn't level up that much from it.
That's true. They did get for me. They actually got harder. So you know what? Maybe there is, which is bad game design when you think about it. That there's some kind of intended order, even though there is absolutely nothing to direct you to go to a certain one or not. Yeah, They actually did. Some of them were definitely harder than others. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Haseo runs up and hugs Alcade, and she gets flustered and freaks out. It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Then more Gamoras show up, but so do Sirius and Taiaku. And I'm like, I don't even care that you showed up. My girlfriend's here. They tell Haseo that they emailed ranking arena members to come and fight, and they did in response to Haseo's determination or some shit. Point is, Haseo is no longer hated by everyone in the arena.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And what sucks about this scene is like, look, all these people from the arena are here, and they use just the generic NPCs that there's like 100 of, but they only use like 3 of the available 6 NPC types, but there's like 16 characters, so it's like all the like Yada looking dude with the bandages on his head, and it's like, okay, well, there's like 7 of them, and it took me out. I love
this sequence of the game because it's just a endless sequence of dramatic scenes where, you know, everyone from all over is coming to save the day, you know, like at the end of like The Rise of Skywalker, except significantly more actually earned from a narrative standpoint, which is funny for this game. This game's got one up on that movie for sure. But what's so funny is that like it's the dramatic scene that you see in the anime or in the whatever when you call for help and all your friends and enemies all show up to work together, but it's just a bunch of people going, I read your email. I saw your email. I read your email. And so I've never before had someone said so dramatically, I read your email.
So good.
Haseo and party head into the outer dungeon while the Yes. Haseo and party head into the outer dungeon while the Ikalo members hang back and fight the Gamoras. Then next is Hidden Forbidden Bulwark, the Morogabero Wall. There they find Gamoras, but also Kaede, Matsu, and other Moontree members. The party heads into the outer dungeon and takes out the Gamoras. Next is Hidden Forbidden Battlefield, the Kashtabadger Battlefield. Unsurprisingly, there are Gamoras. But Gabi leaps in and takes them out. Yay!
Hell yeah.
Gabi is so badass in this scene. It's like when you get here and there are way more Gamoras than there have been on any of the others. Like Alcade took out a bunch, but this was like super swarm, and Gabi just jumps in and like backhands them, and it's so badass. Gabi's the best.
Gabi rules.
Yes. And then other Kestrel members show up, like Bordeaux and her buddies, and even that pair that PK'd Haseo. The party heads into the outer dungeon. Then finally...
Real quick on Bordeaux. Why did we spend 3 hours resolving the fact that Negumaru and What's-His-Face didn't need Bordeaux anymore and they could be their own people just for them to be Bordeaux's lackeys again this week? Like, why did they waste so much of our time last week making us pretend to care about Negi fucking Maru? only to undo that character growth.
Who
the very
knows?
next week.
I don't
Maybe
fucking
now
know.
Negimaru is hanging out with Ordo for fun.
Maybe so. Or maybe we couldn't tell because of the way it was shot, but Negimaru was the one in charge now. Maybe that's the growth.
Maybe Negimaru was hanging back a little bit so that people can't tell that y'all are in the same party. To reference the other episode we recorded this week.
So finally we head to Hidden Forbidden Dragonbane, which, if I recall correctly, is the place where we fought Sakaki. One of the times we fought him.
Yeah, maybe.
There's Gamoras. There's also Pyrrhus III. Syllabus and Gaspard show up too. They give little speeches. Then Antares shows up. Then the party heads to the outer dungeon. Really, the first one is the big dramatic one that is good, and the others are just like, yo, I'll fight these Gamoras for you, I guess.
This scene did remind me of in Homestuck at the end when they're like, okay, so like we're about to have the big final battle, but because it's Homestuck, there's like the enemy, the final boss is like 4 or 5 different guys that are all kind of the same guy. So we're going to be having a fight on a bunch of different fronts, and they're divvying up who goes where, and they're literally like, you three, y'all suck. Y'all are the worst at fighting. Okay, y'all are going to take this front because it's going to be the easiest. Like, they literally send their shittiest fighters at the bad guy that they think is going to be the weakest. And when Pyrrhus, Sylvus, and Gaspard showed up, I felt the same way. It's like, oh yeah, no, they got the easy level. They just figured, oh yeah, there's like 4 Gamoras. Okay, let's send these guys over that way. If we send them to the place where Gabby is, they're gonna die.
Yeah, and I love that. Like they send the shitty ones to the shitty one, but then they also send Antares, who's like, don't worry, like I won't let them die. Like even if this is too hard for the fucking shopkeeper, I'll step in and I'll make sure.
Antares is doing most of the work. Let's be clear here. He's good in battle and shit.
After taking out all the Gamoras, Hiseo heads to the bridge. Zokova has finally located Cubia and gives Hiseo the location. Aino walks in. She says her brother really loved the world and asks Hiseo to save it. Hiseo promises to never forget Ovan. All the Epitaph users head to Cubia's area. They find the area weird and glitchy from Cubia's influence. They find a place where they can use area hacking to access an outer dungeon. Eventually, they find a spot where they can use data hacking to find Cubia. They find themselves on a strange platform floating in space. Adley can hear echoes of the darkness, deeper than any darkness, the darkness of the human heart.
Advanced darkness.
An enormous, fucked up orb appears in front of them. The Epitaph users entrust Hiseo with their powers. Hiseo feels their power, says he is the terror of death, and summons Skaith. So we have to fight this giant orb that has fucking the
Worms.
prototype ultimate life form from Sonic Adventure 2 coming out of it.
Yeah. It's really cool. I really like the visual design of this boss, of this Cubia. Yeah, it's sort of a giant orb, but also the top has like plants. Looks like it's got like trees or whatever, or like vines, and it's like partially cracked open. It's really neat. It's like a rock egg orb planet thingy.
Mm-hmm. So after a long multi-phase battle, Hiseo attempts to data drain Cubia, but it doesn't work. Yata says there's probably a core inside Cubia which they could break. Hiseo flies Skaith into Cubia's mouth. The Epitaph users see the core inside Cubia. Yata reiterates the stakes, and I'm like, okay, thanks. Yata and
just
Pai
loves saying third network crisis. He loves to say it in every sentence because he is Yata.
Yes. Yata and Pai say that
he loves the third network crisis more than any other person.
Yata and Pai say that they may be destroyed themselves. Hiseo says they have to do it anyway. Hiseo finds himself in a black void. A weird orb appears in front of him and speaks with Aura's voice. She again says the players will decide the fate of the world. She says all she can do is connect thoughts together. Now reach out and touch the feelings of those who share your inner thoughts. The orb becomes a save point. Nice. As Saseo heads up the path to the core, Cubia starts summoning doppelgangers of him and the party members who are with him. He leaves his party members behind to deal with the doppelgangers and presses forward. This repeats a few times, and luckily the game is like, hey, save your best party members for the final battle. And I'm like, okay.
I really like how clear the game was here. And also earlier, when we got to the point of return, or when the save point appeared just now, the game literally was like, hey, use a different save file, you dingus. Really appreciated how they made extra sure that we weren't being stupid here. It was nice of them.
Yeah. I still did it wrong and had to reset because, like, when it was like, use your worst party members, I was like, but I don't want to use them. And then I saw that, like, oh, they get left behind here. And I'm like, I felt that might have been what it was, and I was stupid for ignoring it. Thankfully, they just gave me a save point, so I can just read it. I
thought maybe it was going to be like an FF6 style thing where, like, if you do bad and they die, then you blow through your party members. So I had, because I was like, who do I want for the final battle, right? I went with Adelie and Alcade because I love them. And then when I got that message, because of what I said a second ago, I was like, I can fucking do it. And then when I realized that no, they get left behind in a cutscene, I started doing, I did start doing what it said. And it's not like Adelaide and Alcade are my best members anyway. I forget who I had. Who did you all have at the end for the actual final battle?
I believe I had Atali and Pi.
I had Adelie and Kuhn because they were my Sage Palace party, so they were higher level than everybody else, and because, as we mentioned last time, I've been buffing up my armors and not my weapons because I've been using the ultimate weapons. So, like, it takes a long time to level up an ultimate weapon. I wasn't going to, like, start leveling up pies or whatever. So
I used Yata, who's real good. Also, I've been using him a pretty decent bit lately anyway. And also Zelkova. I'd only used Zelkova once before, but when Zelkova first enters your party, they're already super high level. And, parties and, characters do gain levels when they're not in your party, sometimes, because of the game's lore, right? So I believe that Yata and Zelkova were still the two highest level party members, even more than the ones that I, like, use all the time, like Adelie. So I used the two of them, and they're both really fucking good. They're great, especially Zelkova.
Yeah, this game has a problem where if other characters are healers, they don't market themselves as much. So it's like, I'll get a new character, and I'm like, but I'm not going to not take Adelie because I need a healer. And so, like, I get a different spicy set of DPS for my third person, but it's usually Adelie plus that third person. So I have no idea if anybody's good because, like, I only had one choice the whole time, and I usually was picking somebody for plot reasons where it's like, call Pi and go to this area. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll call Adelie and Pi because I need that healer.
Yeah, totally.
Haseo and his chosen party approach the core. It turns into some weird angel egg statue thing and attacks. It's really bad looking. What?
With a tiny little naked Haseo baby on top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little Sephiroth Haseo thingy. Yeah. Again, really love the design of this boss. I thought it was really cool looking. It actually reminds me a lot of something, but I can't, like, my brain can't place what it is that it's reminding me of. But yeah, it's big. It's very bulky. It's got a lot of bulk to it. It's not like a slim figure. It's sort of bulbous, very top heavy, and then has like a middle part that shoots a lot of projectiles at you and shit like that. That's the part that you got to hit. It's kind of got like a face, not an actual face, but it's got a part that you hit.
And that's what defines a face.
Yep. The face is the part of the body that you most don't want people to hit.
After the party defeats the core, it starts emitting energy. Pi wonders if it's trying to take them out too. Yata says its energy is as powerful as the rebirth. If it releases it all at once, who knows what could happen? Yata says if they unify the power of their epitaphs and turn it against Cubia, ... But that would ... Haseo says they don't have a choice. Everyone's PCs fade away as they lend their strength to Haseo. I should note that a ghostly Saku is floating beside Bo and like having dialogue too.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, that's something that if they're actually playing a game that, like, what?
Yeah.
So Haseo leaps forward to strike the core, but the core resists. It's not enough. They can't defeat it without the epitaph of rebirth. Haseo's arm cracks as he tries to break through the core's shield. He yells Ovan's name. Haseo finds himself in a white void. Aura's voice asks the little children of Morgana to pray to save the world. Ovan steps forward and puts his hand on Haseo's cracked arm. It heals. He says, now you have them all. Ovan asks if we can do it. Haseo says, of course we can. We see flashes of Haseo's journey to this point. Back in the void, there's a pile of feathers where Ovan stood. Haseo gathers all his feelings into a final attack. He and the spectral form of Ovan break through the core's shield.
He presses that attack button so hard.
Yeah.
In front of his computer. He's just like, right click!
He's yelling, ah, in his room, and I'm sure his parents are like, what is he doing in there?
One thing that I realized is hilarious is, like, when the party members are just going through a dungeon and, like, there's just some mobs there and they run up to fight them. And it's just hilarious to think these actual people are saying stuff like, we're going to take you down.
Rengeki!
Or, have you learned your lesson?
Yeah, like, if this game was a little more realistic, then, like, what they would be doing is they'd be, like, listening to podcasts while going through the dungeons.
Or at least be like, Adelie, behind you, or like, proc your ult, or whatever the fuck. Like,
yeah.
You know that actually probably would be dope if they ever make a .hack 3 instead of having your in-game banter be like JRPG banter, like the first two are. Like, it would be great if it was like as if the players were talking to each other on how to take down the mob. That would be dope.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, watch out for its
CyberConnect,
AOE! Watch out for its AOE attack!" Yeah. Well, then again, I mean, we've talked about this. Everyone who plays the world is just unimaginably committed to being in character, to roleplay like no one has ever been.
Mm-hmm. So after they break through the core shield, the core turns to stone and crumbles. Haseo is back in the white void, standing opposite Ovan, whose left arm is normal. Ovan says Haseo has gotten quite strong. Haseo says he was forced to become stronger thanks to Ovan. Ovan wonders how much further Haseo will grow. Haseo's like, huh? Ovan says this is goodbye. Haseo says, wait, I still haven't found a way to return your feelings. You always leave before I can tell you how I feel. Ovan says one ending is a new beginning. Their journey will still continue. He turns and walks away. Haseo says, I have no idea what you're talking about, Ovan, which summarizes a lot of this trilogy.
Yep.
It's true.
Haseo says he still has so much he wants to say to Ovan and runs to him, but Ovan disappears. So I think the game series, like, they had some sort of concept, like Ovan was this extremely important, like, father figure to Haseo or something, but they never really talked about that or sold it or anything.
Yeah,
and it was because he was just always like Haseo's RP buddy, I guess.
He's
but
just some
to
guy.
me, but apparently he was really fucking important to Haseo.
Yeah, and maybe if we would have watched .hack Roots when Volume 2 came out, like the people did back in the day, maybe there's more of that when they were both normal players and not GU members and whatnot. maybe there's more of that in the anime.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
A figure appears, and if we've seen the box arts for IMOC, we recognize her as Aura. She says Haseo's wish has awakened Ovan's heart. He heard Haseo's lament, and his deepest wish was to answer them. She says some shit about souls being connected or something. It went by fast. She says Haseo must go now. Narration by Haseo says the confusion in the real world and the network is finally calming down. The worst of the network crisis was avoided. Everyone emails Haseo celebrating their victory over Cubia. There are a few emails I find particularly interesting. Pi says, CC Corp is performing a general maintenance sweep of the world right now. Don't worry, they haven't found any trace of Cubia. Now that we're through with all the dangers of the world, it's safe to assume that Project GU will be disbanded. Once I've taken care of the remaining work here, I think I'll quit CC Corp. You can't go back to the way things were, but if you do everything you can right now, there's still something to be gained. I don't have any regrets. I think that I am the way I am now thanks to you, Haseo. If we ever meet again, no, forget it. I know better than to ask for things I know I can't get. Well, see you. Alcade says, Dear Prince Charming, smiley face. I guess you brought me back to the real world? Thanks, I appreciate it. I could tell how hard you were fighting out there. That kind of made me happy. Although I could also tell how Atali got a pretty good lead on me while I was asleep, smiley face. But hey, I'm persistent and single-minded to boot. I'm never gonna let you go. I love her.
She's so
I
good.
love her so much.
Gabi says, This is great!
I was going to read that as a minimum. That's all he says. Actually, I think it's even... Let's see, what is it? He says, okay, so it says Cinder Gabi, subject, oh yeah. And then the message is just, this is great. Smiley face made out of like carrot _ carrot. That's it. Everyone else's emails are like 2 paragraphs, and that's all his is. It's awesome. I love Gabi.
And when you back out of it, Haseo goes, that was a short email.
Also, Matsu says he's probably going to stop playing online games, which probably everyone should do. Aina says this is how her brother wanted it to end, and she must wish for happiness. Finally, an email from Shino. Delta Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground. I'm waiting. You know the place. I freaked out. I was like, oh, fuck yes. Oh, my God. I'm finally going to meet Shino. Oh, my God.
It took me a second to even register. I was looking through my emails, and I was like, wait, what? Man, just honestly, the innocuousness of the way that there's just an email in your inbox is, like, such good drama. Also, I don't know. There have been a number of times in my life in the last few years, I think both of y'all are aware, where... You know, I'm looking at my email, and then I see that I have an email from a certain person, and I see the name and the subject line, and it, like, knocks you flat on your ass, right? Like, yeah. For me, it's usually more in a bad way, but not always. But yeah, so like this game like mimicked that. It mimicked the weird innocuousness of like a world turned upside down feeling that comes from seeing a name and a subject line. It's cool.
Yeah, like when I log into my email and it says your Tiff's Treats order is on its way. Like, it changes your whole life.
Exactly.
Do they have Tiff's Treats in Madison?
No, they don't. But we do have.
Yeah, I thought that was like a local thing.
Yeah, we do have Crumble Cookies. It's opening on the 5th, and they've been all over like local Instagrams and stuff like that, like advertising, and it looks fucking great. I'll send you guys like videos when we're done. These look like the best fucking cookies I'll ever eat.
Haseo heads to Hulgron's cathedral. He sees Shino. She asks if he remembers what they talked about here. Haseo says it was the goddess Aura. Shino says she was watching Haseo. Her consciousness was faintly connected to Ovan's arm, so she caught glimpses of what happened. Shino says Ovan saw things through in a way only he could, and it ended the way he wanted. It's as if they were just characters in Ovan's story. Haseo says it wasn't like that. Adali walks up. Shino says she asked her to come too. Adelie congratulates Shino on her return and says that her PC really does look the same. She says Haseo tried really hard to cure Shino. Adelie says goodbye and good luck, then runs off. Shino says let's start the Twilight Brigade again with just the two of them to go find Ovan. Haseo is hesitant. Shino says she saw everything. Now be honest with yourself. Haseo nods and runs out of the cathedral. Shino turns to the altar and says, "You're watching, aren't you, Ovan?" Outside the cathedral, Adelie is shocked to see Haseo running towards her. She smiles. Credits. Several English voice actors are listed as question mark, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was one of my mem-moms because I have no idea what that even means. Like, Aura is one of them, but then and so it could be like, oh, she's being like mysterious or whatever. But then it's also like random shit, like not Gaspard because this was in there, but it's like that level of stuff. It was just like some random party member. Their voice was
very strange. That last scene though was really good. It was very complicated emotionally in a way that this game normally isn't. Like you're expecting this big happy reunion, but instead Shino's like very dramatic and kind of weird. And then like once Adelie shows up, there's like extremely palpable tension going on because it's like, here's the person you've been fighting for this whole time, and then here's this new person that you've clearly fallen in love with, right? And there was a lot of like, what's it called? There were a lot of like looks, and loaded, weighty glances, and heavy like beats of the cinematography. It was fucking good. It was really, really.
I just wish Haseo could have 3 girlfriends.
Right?
Both of them and also Arcade?
Yes.
Adelie wouldn't go for it.
No.
So this scene with Shino made me realize something that's very weird. So like during the game, there's no concept of time. Like you log out to check your email, and it's not like in the first game. There's a couple of times where you like shut down your computer and it like says that you go to sleep for that. But in GU, it doesn't do that. So supposedly this could happen all in one day. Like it's just 40 straight hours of Haseo playing the game. So like Alcade maybe was in a coma for a day or two, but it is canon that Shino was in a coma for 8 months because that's how long it is at the beginning of the game from when the end of Roots to when he gets data drained. So if you were in a coma for 8 months from playing an online video game and you wake up and you tell your doctors, bring me my computer, I want to play The World Revision 2. Like, I don't know. That seems ill-advised. And the fact that she just, like, nonchalantly comes back and is like, oh, hey, yeah,
maybe.
I'm back in the
yes,
the game.
That is hilarious and so dumb. And you think the doctors would be like, you have significant amounts of, like, of physical therapy you need to go through before you can do literally anything. But maybe, remember a bit ago they did say, Shino's life vitals like changed. Maybe she actually woke up at some point during these final stretches of the game. It's just that everything was going crazy, so you didn't hear about it. Maybe it was like a week. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely, it's like, we don't know how much time it, the amount of time that the game takes place over is however much time it to me, it feels like the game takes place over like many months, in my opinion. That's how it feels to me, but who knows, really?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of the game.
Well, after the credits, there's more emails.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Do you want me to go over them?
Most of them seem to be like, here's post-game content you can do. Like there's a lot of stuff about the Forest of Pain, which if any of us end up checking that out, we'll talk about next week. But
I called it. It's a real place.
Yeah, apparently that's like the main plot of Dot Hat Roots is Haseo traveling through the Forest of Pain.
Roots. I see.
But if there are any that are particularly juicy, Bernard, you can say them. I just don't remember any that were that juicy.
Well, basically everyone gives you their member address. You get Bordeaux's member address. You get the member addresses of the Pursuers. Shino gives Haseo her member address.
Yeah, actually, cool.
Then, after checking his email, Haseo receives another email from Aura giving him a greeting card he can send to anyone at Max Affection to do the marriage event with them. And I was so excited about this marriage event. And Adelie and Pi were the only ones who were at max level, so I did the marriage event with Adelie. And I was really disappointed because it's just like you just warp into the world. They have like a 4-sentence conversation, and then they walk off and you see the credits over a few still images of the wedding, and that's it. And that's all the wedding scenes are as far as I can tell.
Lame.
Dang.
It is cool that you get to get married, though.
Which I understand that they aren't too complex because you can marry every single character, every single party member in the game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
I should replay this game and send every greeting card to Pieros III so that his one true love can be canon.
No.
But yeah, so next week we will play part 4, and if part 4 is not enough to cover like a whole episode by itself, we'll also talk about any of this ending stuff we do there. The side quest on the forums has not resolved, but I haven't seen anything. There wasn't anything new about it this week, but the email about the Forest of Pain mentions the god Cernunnos, so maybe it was just tie-in for that. I don't know if I'm missing something or something, but we'll poke around in the end game and play Volume 4 for next week. But for now, we will listen to that kick-ass vocal track in the credits.
It was really good.
And then we'll talk about our memorable moments.
かすかに香る優しく君は微笑んでいた見えない風に気づかないまま君に甘えて苦しめてたね誰よりも愛して誰よりも見つめたずっとずっと
All right, Maddie, do you have any memorable moments?
Quite a few. First, I just want to mention, since we didn't really talk about it, a lot of good fights this game. This week, all the bosses were quite good.
Oh yeah.
I thought the final Skaith fight was really dope and fun. It was a good time. I did die on the final phase, and thank goodness the game doesn't make you do all the phases again. You just do the final phase again, because the final phase is just a little bit loosely designed bullshit enough that I would have been really annoyed if it didn't make me do the first part of it again, because the first part is really long and boring. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in Persona 3, how the final boss is a 13 phase boss, and the 13th phase is really good, but the first 12 phases are actually kind of dull. So you gotta, it's like, I have no way am I fucking doing this shit all again. Oh my god. Anyway, but then the final battle, which was a person battle against real like Cubia, was just really fun. You had these two different tentacles. It kept summoning summoning Gamoras to fuck you up, but you can kill them in just a couple hits at this point. The guns, by the way, we just got the guns last week and hadn't gotten to use them. Extremely fun to use.
I love the guns.
Holy moly,
I hate the guns.
Really? No, every time you use them, you like slide around. They do hell of damage, and you get a dash. You can do a dodge
piddly
dash.
damage.
No, you got to get right next to the. No, you got to get closer to the person you're shooting at.
Yeah, even close. They were doing like 60 per hit with like 120 for my final hit, and one swing of my scythe was doing like 130.
I don't know, man. Whenever I used them, it made their health go down really fast, is all I'm saying. I don't know. But no, they're super fun. You have a special move that can shoot all the enemies, which I didn't use very much. I actually didn't really use it until the final battle, which is a shame because it's like really good, actually. But anyway, the gun's fun. The battle's fun. It's tough, but not too tough. Great music, well designed, multiple like 3 distinct phases, I think, on the final boss.
3 or 4. Yeah.
And the first phase is a very complicated multi-part phase, but I'm just going to consider that whole everything with the tentacles is phase 1. I think after that point it has 2 more phases.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just really good. I just wanted to mention that. Good job on the game design, folks. Anyway, in addition to that, when Gabby shows up at the end to fight all the Gamoras, Bernard didn't say his actual dialogue. He says, "I read your email. It was kind of tough, though, since it was more than 3 lines." Smiley face. Also, like, when tall horseman person guy, I forget his name.
Serious?
Yeah, Sirius.
Serious.
When Sirius shows up, he's like, "I've come back from hell along with Alcade." And then right when he says that, the other guy is like, "I'm here because I was bored." A number of people say they're here because they're bored, which is really nice. Let's see. In addition to that, just some great anime lines. Shit like, oh, actually, Bernard already covered all those. When Aina is bitching about how you saved her and how that sucks and all, she says, "I was way happier when I was lying there unconscious." And, hashtag relatable. At one point, when you're in the, what do you call it? The net slum, you can talk to some NPCs. And one of the NPCs has a character. Oh, actually, this isn't in the net slum. I don't know why. Oh, I actually talked to an NPC for once this time because all this stuff's going on in the world, all this cataclysmic stuff. Maybe the NPCs actually have something to say about it. Mm-hmm. They don't. So there's this guy named Ukami Ito. And he's like, "Yeah, my name's Ukami. What of it?" And then it turns out Ukami's like the name of some media franchise, whatever. And then he goes, "The version where Hideki stars as the leading role is a classic and the Bible of my heart." It's a really, really good sentence.
It's so good.
I might have 1 or 2 more, but y'all go on.
So we made the joke at the beginning of the episode, but we didn't mention it while doing it. But when Yada, one of the times, he's like, "We're in the 3rd network crisis and it's spreading to the rest of the network," Haseo's response is, "But it's 2017."
I thought it was Kuhn that said that.
It's somebody.
I think,
it's
a very funny line.
Someone says, "But it's 2017."
Which is, it's such a good line.
You're right. The fact that it's 2017 would make a network crisis bad. If it were like 1950, wouldn't it be so bad?
So when Sirius shows up to fight all of the Gamora, one of the, like, when everybody starts fighting, I don't remember who. No, I think it's Alcade. Alcade's like, I'm gonna kick your ass, you Gamora scum, blah, 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 blah. And Sirius says, "There's no point in lecturing before there's no point in lecturing monsters before fighting them," which I thought was great. Then when you are on your way up to fight Cubia, I had one of the times I left behind Matsu, and Matsu says, "Haseo, I believe in you, so you got to believe in me and go finish off that devil," which was very big Gurren Lagann hours. Believe in the you that believes in me. But another one is after you save the world, Kuhn's email says, "Looks like that's all over. I guess we're the band of heroes that saved the world, huh? Well, maybe not. This isn't an RPG, so the king and princess won't be coming out to thank all of us or anything." Smiley face. So Kuhn is aware that he's a JRPG hero, which I liked. And then to top it off, the last one I have that we didn't already talk about is Matsu's end of the game email says, "Well, I think I understand about as much of this as I'm gonna." And that's big mood. But that's all I have. What do you have, Maddie?
I already did mine.
Maddie already went.
Bernard has some, though.
I thought you said
No, I don't really have any that we
Gotcha.
haven't already covered.
Okay, I have two more. When Ovan shows up in the white void right before giving you the last of his power or whatever, he like holds, like cradles Haseo in his arms in, I think, a very tender and loving and, dare I say, sensual way. And then he says, "Can we do it, Haseo?" And then Haseo leans in close and says, "Yes." No, I'm not just making shit up. There were some vibes going on. And my final one is that, again, with all the emails everyone sends you when they're all happy, I really like Gaspard's. Gaspard's just says, the subject line is, "We won." And then he says, "We did it. We won. Good job, Haseo. Good job, Syllabus. Good job, me. We won this together." And I just love that little guy. He didn't actually participate in the final battle, but that's okay. Oh wait, no, I did use him. I did use him in the third of the doppelganger fight. So I used because the game was like, use your shittiest characters, and I was like, ooh, I'll let Syllabus and Gaspard handle these. So he did contribute. Good for him.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be worse than it was. I thought we were going to have to like Final Fantasy VI and send all of our characters. So I was just starting from the bottom. So I didn't like, if I were picking from lore standpoint, I would have picked Syllabus and Gaspard for the first two, and then maybe Pi and Kun or Pi and Yada for the second one, and then take my guys for the end. So I had a random assortment of characters I had never played before because I just was starting at the bottom and just sending people. But so I didn't send anybody good besides Matsu, but his was only good because his line was cute.
Cool. So we're done skis then, huh?
We're done. Yeah.
Good job, everybody.
We did it.
We did it. So we talked about
Good
this.
Good job, Sam. Good job, Maddie Grace. Good job, me.
We
recorded a podcast.
So we did talk about this, and it's volume 4 is only like 4 hours or so, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
3 hours is what they say.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna guess it's like 3 hours of a lot of cutscenes. So we should anticipate it being a little bulky as far as recording goes. But yeah, I think all 1 week, and then maybe we can talk about. I'll certainly actually have time for once to like read any forums or watch.
There's not forums and stuff in Volume 4.
No, I meant catch up on 3, watch. Jack, what's his online Jack? Because I didn't watch any of them this week, this time, because I've just been so busy. Yeah, so we can probably talk about that stuff a bit as well, I bet.
Not much happens in online Jack this volume.
Yeah, because the subtext that online Jack was talking about became the text of this volume.
Right. It wasn't like, ooh, a mystery.
Didn't really have any juicy gossip. The forums didn't really have any juicy gossip. Both on because there's 3 online Jacks per volume. Both of the last 2 online Jacks were this week. So we had one at the beginning of the game, and then nothing the entire game until 2 right at the end.
That makes sense.
It's basically like nothing happened. But if you liked what you heard today, you could check us out online at www.rpgbook.club, where you can vote on our next main series game, and you can donate to us to help keep our lights on and also unlock more of these secondary podcasts. We are still about halfway-ish, a little over halfway to getting a series on The Last of Us Part 1, which I'm excited about. I've somehow managed to not be spoiled at all anything that those games are about, so I will be going in with super baby fresh eyes, and I'm excited for that.
I know. Very exciting.
And then I'm excited that that will probably be a 2-episode series and not a 16-episode series like this one was. So we will then have a break and be able to do more like commissions and cool bonus episodes and stuff. We basically have when LongCast comes around, that's basically all we're up to.
We only have one commission in the pipeline, right? The one that Bernard's making us do.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we'll actually be able to do it
I felt bad because I was like, I selected the game and I was like, what if Eli doesn't like it? And I'm like, I couldn't select a game Eli would like. He doesn't like any games.
No, it's a great game, and I think I'm really glad that I have an excuse to play it again. So I
hope Eli doesn't hate it.
I think it's great that you commissioned it.
Yeah, I'm loving it so far. I guess we can say what it is, but our next commissioned episode will be Dandy Dungeon Volume 1. And it's great so far in this sort of way that like phone games are great because it is originally a phone game, but it's like it's bite-sized, it's pleasant, it's like crunchy in a good way, and I really enjoy it. Talking about the plot will be wild because it's fairly light in the plot department. Like I think the game movie for the whole game is an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
It'll be fun.
There will be a lot of memorable moments, though.
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to talk about that one. And once we finish that one, the plan is someone commissions it. We don't have so many irons in the fire of backlog because I took paternal leave right when we unlocked .hack. But so we'll get a commission, do it within like a month or two, open commissions back up. So this whole time that we're in between LongCast and Shortcast, we can probably knock out a bunch of them if people are willing to buy them, which you can do at www.rpgbook.club. Other than that, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah,
for RPG Book Club LongCast, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Gabi.
I'm tired.
I'm going to log out and check my email.
Honestly, though, me too. See y'all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.